Peace. Good morning, family. How you doing? It's Mr. R2 here at Consistency is Currency, your morning podcast of choice. Um, it is July the 8th. It is morning, Friday. For those that live for the weekend, you made it. For those that live for the moment, live in it. And again, I will always show gratitude and appreciation for the who that you are and who you are about to become. So for everybody that's listening right now, that's watching on Facebook, and everyone that is watching on YouTube and listening on the podcast platforms, whether you're listening on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Facebook Podcasts, whatever platform you choose to listen to Consistency as Currency on, keep doing it. So thank you and good morning, Grand Rising, whichever one that you say that makes you feel you. Continue to say it, and I will always continue to say and to show gratitude for you. So those that are watching right now, just go ahead and share this live. Take it, like if you're on Facebook, all the way at the bottom, you'll see it says share right here. Go ahead and click that button, and then another screen will pop up, and then you'll share it to whatever it is that you're going to share it to. It may be in the Facebook group or just maybe on your timeline. Whichever one that you so choose to use, it is going to be beneficial, not just to you, but it's also going to be beneficial to those who actually going to watch this along with you, whether they watch it right now in real time or they watch it on the replay. And if there's something that resonates with you during the live, just go ahead and make sure you drop that inside the chat. Why? Because the things that resonate with you just might be the same thing that someone else hear, and they're able to tap into some of that energy that you have exuded and pushed out into the atmosphere. So, so we're going to be talking about. Well, I'm gonna tell you where it came from. I don't have to tell you where it came from, but I want to. So I was listening to a podcast I've listened to this podcast about 3 times. And the gentleman on the podcast said, he was talking and it said, until you become, and it just hit me. And it hit me so hard that I was like, oh man, like I'm not gonna lie. The first 2 times I heard it, but I was trying to go back to make sure that I understood the content or the context that he was utilizing it from, and it just hit me different, and I didn't find it until like yesterday, but I had to listen to it 3 times. It was like all the way in like the 55th minute of the long hour podcast. So how many times you got to listen to it within that hour until you find out where it is? And I know it's not just me. A lot of times we hear things and we want to go back and find it, but it's never there where you thought it was. So you got to listen to all of it. So every time I went back to find it, I was always blessed by another message, and I was always blessed by something else. So what's the moral of that story? Keep looking until you find it. So today it says we're talking about until you become. That's powerful. And when I heard it, it just, peace, good morning, Miss Selena. When I heard until you become, it spoke to me. And I want you to say that today, where you put it into the chat or you say it out loud. But I want you to possess it. Say until I become. So when you say until I become, that means you know that there's work to do. That means you know and understand that you're not going to run away from the process, but you're going to walk towards the process, because at the end of the process is your success. At the end of that process is your story. As you're going through the process, you're acknowledging that it is not just what I'm doing, but it is about the journey. You're gravitating towards the things that you know that you need to do in order for you to become that which you are designed to become, and assume it, and assume that authority that I will become this, because I am not afraid to do what I need to do in order for me to get to that destiny, or in order for me to get to my destination. All right, that's like a little icebreaker. I don't want to jump into it because if I do, I'm gonna start talking about what the 4 points that I want to hit. But the 4 points are pretty dope. So, all right, here we go. For those that know the platform, you already know you're gonna go through the definition. You're gonna have the inversion of the definition. Then I'm gonna give it to you into and from another perspective. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So it says the definition of become is to begin to be appropriate or suitable to. I'm gonna say it again. The definition of become is begin to be appropriate or suitable to. And the inversion on this is white over red, which is to be. As you see the word itself, it says become. So in order for you to become, you must to be. That means you have to exude that level of confidence that you have inside of you in order for you to be, in order for you to push yourself forward. So getting to that point of acknowledging who you are, you have to be first. And as you can see in the definition, it says be appropriate or suitable. A lot of times we try to be so appropriate to other people that we forget to be us. We're trying to be suitable to everybody else's situation, but you're not appropriate to yourself. You're trying to be everything to everybody else that you're not looking at the most suitable things that you must possess for yourself. That's why I put the highlight just to be. Because it's not just me, it's not just you. There are plenty other people that try to be so appropriate to everything that they lose themselves in it. They're no longer being suitable to themselves because they're trying to be everybody else. They're trying to be for everybody else, that they misappropriate their own time. Now, I can stand firm on that because I know what that feels like. Again, I can be transparent in that moment to where when I inefficiently use time and use it for everybody else, that I don't make time for myself. I don't be important to me enough to do the things that I know that I need for me. But I know it's not just me. Don't look at me like I'm crazy, but understand that could be something that you are working on as well. So now let's go into the definition of become. The second definition says qualify or be accepted as, acquire the status of. I'm going to say that again. The second definition of become is qualify or be accepted as, acquire the status of. And the inversion on this is white over red. Qualify as. That means that's you. That's you taking on that responsibility. That's you taking on that, assuming that responsibility. Not waiting for someone to say you're qualified, but you qualify you. I qualify as an intellectual. I qualify as a strong person. I'm not speaking me, but I'm speaking you, telling you what you're qualified as. That's not you waiting for somebody else to qualify you. That's not you waiting for an institution to qualify you. That's you facing what it is that you want to be and going out and get it for yourself. And as you see in the other one, it said acquire the status. Because if you're going to acquire the status of being wise, then actually you're going to have to exercise your wisdom. You're going to have to use your wisdom in the steps that you take. You're going to have to use your wisdom in the words that you profess. You're going to have to use your wisdom in the things that you say and how you say it to people. So in order for you to acquire something, in order for you to become, you have to assume and take hold of that very thing that you want to be. And you qualify you. And as you see in the other inversion, or be accepted of, you don't have to be accepted by anyone, but you need to accept yourself. You need to accept your qualities. You need to accept your status. You need to accept how you feel. You too much worried on the red side that you forget the white side, that you're qualified to be where you are because you have acquired that status. Don't let nobody downplay your vision. Don't let anyone downplay your purpose. Don't let anyone downplay your status. You're qualified to be who you are because you have acquired that status by the work that you put in. Be qualified because you work for it. You work towards it. So until you become, let's take this quick deep dive until you become. Until you become, what are you willing to work for? Until you become, what are you willing to work towards? I remember when I was stationed in Hawaii, and before I started a tattoo magazine, I had a tattoo magazine in Hawaii, actually Hawaii's first tattoo magazine. And before it was ever published, I had to become like an apprentice to the culture. Not an apprentice to actually tattooing, but I had to become an apprentice to the culture of tattooing. Sitting with different practitioners, sitting with different tattoo artists. So a practitioner is a tattooer that actually use the traditional tools. That's the difference between a tattoo artist and a practitioner. So I had to sit with practitioners like the Sulawape family. I had to sit with practitioners like Trish Allen. Sit with practitioners like Leo Zulueta. Also sit with practitioners like Keone Nunez. All of these people I had to sit like under the shade tree in order for me to perfect my craft of the culture and knowing about the art and the significance of tattooing out of that region. So before I had to become the student. I didn't have a magazine. I didn't have a website. The only thing I had at that time was just a business card with 808 Inc. and, President and stuff like that. So I'm driving around to these tattoo shops. Say, hello, how you doing? My name is Ronnie Russell. I'm the president of 808 Inc. Tattoo Magazine. Like, so where can I find your magazine? It's not out yet. But until I became, I had to become the student. I had to become the familiar face. I had to become the activity in the room. I had to become the person that they can trust. Before the magazine was even published, I had to become. That's not a fake it till you make it. That's making it. Too many times we listen to the slogan, fake it till you make it. Keep listening to that if you want to. Just make it. Put yourself in that space and do what is required of you to do. And just make it happen. Make it work. Don't make it up, but make it happen. So as I drove around the island and even Hop Islands to go sit with a lot of other tattoo artists and practitioners, when the magazine came out, it was received. Third issue, it went international. It was all the way in been selling in Japan, Turkey, and all these other places inside Walmart, 7-Eleven. But I had to become the publisher. I had to become the familiar face. But until you become, one thing that I want you to understand, the first thing is that you have to have a level of commitment. Put down commitment in the chat. You have to have a level of commitment. And there's 4 B's that I want you to pay attention to. The first B is you have to be interested in what you're trying to become. And until you become interested in what you're trying to become, you will never see it as clear as day, because you have no level of commitment to what you are trying or striving to become. The second B I want you to be is you have to be informed about what you need to do until you become. So as I began to ride around the island, I had to be informed about the culture of tattooing. I had to be informed about what it meant to the Samoans and what it meant to the Hawaiians and what it meant to the Filipinos, what it meant to the Tongans. I had to be immersed in the culture and to be informed about it until I became. And the third B, I need you to be involved. Be involved in the process of what you need to do. Be involved in the process that you need to take until you become. And the fourth level, the fourth level is to be immersed. Be immersed in it. Be so immersed in it that you can't give up on you. Because a lot of times we give ourselves so much room that doubt has developed its place into where we are, into who we are, into what we're doing, that when doubt has place or placement in your process, that's when doubt transitions into fear and it becomes so strong that the dream is no longer alive. So you need to become so immersed into it that giving up is never an option, and you have to find the benefits of your why. Then after you have become so immersed in the process and being committed into it, you have to be invested in yourself. Like, how many books have you read in the past few days or the past few months? Or how many articles have you read? If you that type of person, like, I don't like to read books, cool, whatever. How many articles have you read? Articles of something that can invest into your spirit, something that actually allows you to learn something or something more about you. How many YouTube videos that you watched that pour back inside of you, that speak to the soul, that speak to the most innermost being of you? And after you have done that, the very next thing is be willing to sacrifice, whether it is time, whether it is a meal, whether it is moments, whatever it is. Are you willing to sacrifice, or what are you willing to sacrifice to become? There's going to be a level of sacrifice that you're going to have to let go of in order for you to redesign yourself, to put yourself in a position to be that person that you know that you can become. And the third thing is to fear thing. Don't be afraid to take that risk, because everyone feels we feel it, right? We know what fear feels like. Everyone feels fear. Even the strongest person that you know feels fear. And fear is a made up process. That is something that you formulate inside of your mind and inside of your brain. It only takes shape when you give it energy. Learn how to become more fearless and not fearful. And be committed to the process of develop and design the who that you are and learn how you're going to overcome it. Live your dreams and not your fears. Fear is created, and fear is so created, it starts in the mind. But as we begin to process that, we can begin to develop our impulse to dream. Stop picking up your fear from your friends and picking up the fear from your family. You done believe so much into what someone said that fear that they poured into you have now become your fears. Oh man, you don't need to do that, man. Our family, we've never done that. That's their fear. That's their limited belief. That's their inability to create. You may have to not listen to mama, not in a disrespectful way. You may have to not listen to mama, not listen to your daddy or your husband because or spouse or whoever they are to you, because that limited belief can suck the energy out of you. That limited belief can be the factor between what you want to do and what you become. And the last thing that I want you to pay attention to is you have to echo the vision. Echo the vision. Your vision have to be so loud that it rings in your innermost being, that it just like it's inside of your head all the time. Because as you begin to have or develop the inner conversations with you, you have to speak it as though it already exists. And keep repeating that vision. Put that vision on loop. Loop that vision. Allow it to continuously grow and to repeat that process inside of your head to tell you that you got it, to tell you that you have qualified yourself to be here, to tell you that your purpose was given to you on purpose. So echo the vision. And make it so loud and make that vision so clear and know that you got it. And when you get to that point, what happens is you begin to design your level. Because the echo creates a sustainable outcome. Because how many times you hear it, you can be like, yep, oh, I know the sound. I'm on it. Bow. Just like those who was in the military. When you hear that music at 6:30, everyone knows what's going on. It gets echoed all over the installation. And everyone was staying at the position of attention and salute whatever they need to salute, because that sound is echoed. But what if you echoed your vision like that? Being able to snap into it like, boom, I gotta go. It's time to perform. It's time for me to execute. So echo your vision. Allow your vision to be louder than the outside noise, to be louder than the distractions in your life, to be louder than the fears of everybody else. But allow that vision to be echoed to create the most opportunity for you until you become. All right. So definitely appreciate the time that you've been here and the time that you've taken out to just listen until you become. Y'all be blessed. Peace.